Do you remember when every kitchen had a bacon grease jar on the stove? The 1950s housewife knew cooking secrets that saved time, money, and made simple ingredients sing. Today we're exploring 25 ingenious kitchen tricks that have nearly vanished from modern cooking. Let's start with whipped evaporated milk cream. In the 1950s, fresh whipped cream was a luxury many families couldn't afford. But clever housewives discovered a brilliant substitute. By chilling a can of evaporated milk in the refrigerator overnight, then whipping it with a hand beater, they created fluffy, stable peaks that held up beautifully on pies and puddings. The trick was getting it cold enough. Some women even chilled their mixing bowls and beaters in the freezer first. A tablespoon of lemon juice added extra stability and a touch of tang. This mock cream cost a fraction of dairy cream and lasted longer too. During the war years, this technique became so popular that evaporated milk companies printed whipping instructions right on their labels. Today's cooks rarely think to try this economical trick. Soup can casseroles. The 1950s saw the birth of convenience cooking, and nothing exemplified this more than using condensed cream soups as casserole binders. Campbell's cream of mushroom became the miracle ingredient that could transform leftover chicken, tuna, or vegetables into a creamy family dinner. Housewives discovered that 1 can of soup mixed with milk or broth could bind 4 cups of ingredients into a cohesive dish. The beauty was in the simplicity. No need to make a white sauce from scratch when the soup provided instant creaminess and flavor. Green bean casserole, tuna noodle bake, and King Ranch chicken all emerged from this era. These dishes could be assembled in minutes and popped in the oven while Mom attended to other tasks. The soup can method meant even novice cooks could produce reliable results every time. Modern home cooks often overlook this time-saving technique in favor of from-scratch sauces. Bacon grease jar on the stove. That ceramic crock or repurposed coffee can sitting beside the stove wasn't just clutter. It was liquid gold. Every strip of bacon cooked contributed to this precious cooking fat reserve. Smart housewives strained the hot grease through cheesecloth to remove bits, creating a clean fat that could flavor countless dishes. A spoonful in the skillet before frying eggs added incredible taste. Green beans simmered with bacon grease became a vegetable kids actually wanted to eat. Cornbread baked with a tablespoon of drippings developed a crispy, savory crust. The grease jar represented both frugality and flavor, turning what we now discard into a cornerstone ingredient. Properly stored grease lasted weeks without refrigeration. During rationing, this saved fat became even more valuable. Some families passed down their grease jars through generations, the ceramic, seasoned with decades of use. Today's health-conscious cooks miss out on this incredible flavor enhancer. Meatloaf panade trick. The secret to moist, tender meatloaf wasn't more meat, it was the panade. This French technique of soaking bread in milk before mixing it into ground meat transformed tough, dry loaves into succulent family favorites. Housewives discovered that 2 slices of white bread torn into pieces and soaked in half a cup of milk could stretch 1 pound of meat to feed 6 people. The milk-soaked bread created a creamy texture while keeping the meat incredibly moist during baking. Some cooks used crushed crackers or oatmeal instead, each bringing its own texture. The panade also helped the loaf hold together without becoming dense. This trick worked because the starch absorbed and retained moisture that would otherwise cook out. Depression-era cooks perfected this method when meat was scarce and expensive. Today's meatloaf recipes often skip this crucial step, resulting in drier, denser loaves that crumble when sliced. Pressure cooker pot roast. Before slow cookers existed, the pressure cooker reigned supreme for transforming tough cuts into fork-tender meals. A 3-pound chuck roast that normally took 4 hours to braise became meltingly soft in just 45 minutes under pressure. The sealed environment trapped steam, raising the temperature above boiling and breaking down tough connective tissues rapidly. Housewives learned exact timing, 15 minutes per pound for beef, less for pork. The real magic happened with cheaper cuts like round steak or shoulder roasts that normally required hours of cooking. Vegetables added during the last few minutes emerged perfectly tender, infused with meat juices. The pressure cooker also preserved nutrients better than long simmering. Safety was paramount. These stovetop models had weighted regulators that jiggled steadily when at proper pressure. By the 1970s, electric slow cookers largely replaced them, though modern pressure cooking is making a comeback with electric models. Savory Jell-O salads. Today they seem bizarre, but molded gelatin salads were the height of 1950s sophistication. Knox unflavored gelatin or savory-flavored Jell-O became the base for elaborate creations featuring vegetables, seafood, and mayonnaise. The perfection salad, shredded cabbage and carrot suspended in lemony gel, appeared at every potluck. Tomato aspic crowned with shrimp showed off culinary skills. These weren't desserts, but legitimate salads, often served on lettuce leaves with mayonnaise. The appeal was visual, ingredients suspended like jewels in crystal clear or vibrantly colored gel. Molds came in elaborate shapes from rings to fish. Preparation required precise timing and temperature control. Too warm and ingredients sank. Too cold and layers wouldn't adhere. Electric refrigerators made these dishes possible for average homes. The trend faded as fresh vegetables became available year-round, and tastes shifted. That's right, people genuinely loved these shimmering creations. Coffee can brown bread. New England brown bread traditionally required special steaming molds, but resourceful cooks discovered clean coffee cans worked perfectly. The 1-pound can size created ideal portion control, while the metal conducted heat evenly for proper steaming. Housewives mixed cornmeal, whole wheat flour, and molasses into a thick batter, often adding raisins. The filled cans went into a large pot with an inch of simmering water, covered tightly to trap steam. After 2 hours, dense, moist cylinders of bread emerged, ready to slice into perfect rounds. The coffee can method made this regional specialty accessible nationwide. Some bakers saved the plastic lids to seal leftover portions. The bread kept for days and actually improved in flavor. Served warm with butter or cream cheese, it made a filling breakfast or dinner side. Metal cans gave better results than glass because they heated more evenly. This technique disappeared as coffee packaging changed to plastic and vacuum-sealed bags. Instant pudding pies. When Jell-O introduced instant pudding in 1950, clever housewives immediately saw beyond the box instructions. By reducing the milk slightly and folding in whipped cream or Cool Whip, they created fluffy pie fillings in minutes. A graham cracker crust plus chocolate pudding equaled instant French silk pie. Vanilla pudding mixed with sliced bananas filled a pastry shell for mock banana cream. The genius was in the proportions. Using 1 cup of milk instead of 2 created a thicker consistency perfect for pies. Some adventurous cooks layered different flavors or added extracts for custom creations. These pies set up firmly in just 30 minutes of chilling. No cooking, no tempering eggs, no risk of curdling. Working mothers especially embraced this shortcut for producing bakery-style desserts on weeknights. The technique also worked for parfaits and trifles. Modern cooks often overlook instant pudding's versatility beyond simple cups for children. Which of these forgotten techniques surprised you most? Foil-lined broiler pans. The simple act of lining broiler pans with aluminum foil revolutionized kitchen cleanup. Heavy-duty foil molded perfectly to the slotted top tray and drip pan below, catching every splatter and drip. After broiling steaks or chops, the foil peeled away, leaving pristine pans underneath. This wasn't just about cleanliness. The foil actually improved cooking. Its reflective surface bounced heat back up, creating more even browning. Housewives discovered they could create a tent of foil over foods to prevent overbrowning while the inside cooked through. The drip pan foil collected precious meat juices for gravy making. Some cooks crimped the edges to create a seal, essentially turning the pan into a covered roaster. Reynolds Wrap became a kitchen essential, with companies printing broiler tips right on the box. The time saved scrubbing baked-on grease gave busy mothers precious extra minutes. Today's non-stick pans make this seem unnecessary, but foil lining remains unbeatable for easy cleanup. Pilot light dough proofing. Gas ovens with continuously burning pilot lights provided the perfect proofing box for bread dough. The gentle warmth, usually around 80-85 degrees, created ideal conditions for yeast fermentation. Housewives would simply place their covered bowl of dough on the middle rack, and the pilot light maintained steady temperature without drafts. This consistent environment meant predictable rise times and better texture. Some bakers put a pan of hot water on the bottom rack for extra humidity. The method worked year-round, eliminating guesswork about finding a warm spot that varied with seasons. Electric oven owners tried replicating this by briefly heating the oven, then turning it off. But nothing matched the pilot light's steady warmth. Overnight rises became foolproof. Dough could proof slowly for enhanced flavor without overproofing. When energy efficiency eliminated pilot lights in the 1980s, home bakers lost this convenient feature. Modern proofing requires more attention to temperature control. Cream of tartar meringues. That mysterious white powder in the spice cabinet held the secret to mile-high meringues that never wept or collapsed. Just an eighth teaspoon of cream of tartar per egg white stabilized the foam structure, creating glossy peaks that held their shape for hours. The acid lowered the pH, allowing proteins to unfold and bond more effectively. Housewives learned this trick produced meringues that could sit on pies without breaking down, even in humid weather. The cream of tartar also created a finer texture and prevented overbeating. Some bakers added it to angel food cakes for extra lift and stability. The timing mattered. Adding it too early inhibited foaming, too late, and it couldn't work its magic. Combined with gradual sugar addition, this created show-stopping pavlovas and baked Alaska. Modern recipes often substitute vinegar or lemon juice, but neither matches cream of tartar's reliability. This pantry staple transformed temperamental egg whites into foolproof dessert toppings. Baking soda for beans. A quarter teaspoon of baking soda in the soaking or cooking water transformed dried beans from an all-day project to a manageable meal. The alkaline environment softened tough bean skins and reduced cooking time by nearly half. Navy beans that normally took 3 hours became tender in 90 minutes. The science was simple. Baking soda broke down pectin in the cell walls, allowing water to penetrate faster. This trick especially helped with older beans that seemed to cook forever without softening. Housewives discovered it also reduced the gas-producing compounds, making beans more digestible. The key was moderation. Too much soda turned beans mushy and gave them a soapy taste. Some cooks added it to the soaking water, then used fresh water for cooking. This technique worked for all legumes from chickpeas to black-eyed peas. Pressure cooking has largely replaced this method, but it remains useful for stovetop cooking. Think about that time savings for busy families. Taming acidic tomato sauce. When tomato sauce tasted too sharp or acidic, smart cooks reached for the baking soda box instead of sugar. Just a tiny pinch, maybe an eighth teaspoon for a whole pot, neutralized excess acid without adding sweetness. The chemical reaction created a brief fizz as acid met alkaline, then the sauce mellowed beautifully. This trick salvaged sauces made from particularly tart tomatoes or canned products with citric acid. Unlike sugar, which only masked acidity with sweetness, baking soda actually changed the pH. The result was a rounder, more balanced flavor that let the tomato essence shine. Too much created an unpleasant, metallic taste, so cooks learned to add tiny amounts and taste carefully. This technique also worked for tomato soup and even fresh tomato dishes. Italian grandmothers passed down this secret through generations. Modern cooks often don't realize this simple solution exists, automatically reaching for sugar instead. Wax paper cake pan liners. Before parchment paper became common, wax paper served as the go-to pan liner for perfect cake release. Housewives traced pan bottoms onto wax paper, cut precise circles, and pressed them smooth. The wax coating prevented sticking while allowing even browning. For layer cakes, this guaranteed professional-looking results every time. The paper peeled away cleanly, leaving smooth surfaces ready for frosting. Some bakers also cut strips for pan sides, especially for tall cakes or delicate sponges. The wax paper needed greasing on both sides, pan side to stay in place, cake side to release. This extra step seemed fussy, but prevented the heartbreak of stuck cakes. Angel food and chiffon cakes especially benefited from this technique. Wax paper cost pennies per use compared to flouring pans and potentially losing cake bottoms. The method required more preparation time but delivered consistent results. Today's bakers often skip this crucial step, relying on non-stick sprays that don't always work. Share your favorite memory of these classic cooking methods in the comments below. Sift and mix dry goods. The flour sifter wasn't just kitchen decoration. It was essential equipment for light, tender baked goods. Sifting flour before measuring removed lumps and incorporated air, creating fluffier cakes and biscuits. The process also ensured accurate measurements since sifted flour took up more volume than packed. Housewives learned to sift flour, baking powder, salt, and cocoa together, distributing leavening evenly throughout. This prevented pockets of baking soda that caused bitter spots or uneven rising. For delicate cakes, they'd sift 3 times for maximum aeration. The rhythmic cranking became meditation, a moment of calm in busy kitchens. Sifting also revealed any unwanted visitors in the flour. Weevils couldn't hide from the fine mesh. Some recipes specifically called for 1 cup sifted flour versus 1 cup flour sifted. The order mattered for proper proportions. Modern pre-sifted flour makes this seem unnecessary, but nothing quite replaces hand sifting for premium results. Potato chip casserole crust. Crushed potato chips mixed with melted butter created an ingenious casserole topping that delivered both crunch and flavor. This 1950s innovation turned everyday chips into a gourmet-seeming finish. The standard ratio was 2 cups crushed chips to 3 tablespoons butter, spread over casseroles during the last 15 minutes of baking. The oils in the chips helped them brown beautifully while staying crispy. Housewives experimented with different chip flavors: barbecue chips on chicken casseroles, sour cream and onion on beef dishes. The technique also worked with cornflakes, crackers, or French fried onions. Some cooks mixed in herbs or cheese for extra flavor. The chip topping eliminated the need for separate breadcrumb preparation while using up partial bags. Kids especially loved this crispy layer, making vegetable casseroles more appealing. The method provided textural contrast to creamy fillings below. Today's cooks might consider this too processed, missing out on an easy flavor and texture boost. Evaporated milk Icebox treats. Canned evaporated milk became the secret ingredient for no-churn ice creams and refrigerator desserts. When partially frozen until slushy, then whipped, it created a mousse-like base for frozen treats. Mixed with fruit, chocolate, or coffee, these icebox desserts rivaled store-bought ice cream. The high milk solid content meant smoother texture than regular milk-based frozen desserts. Housewives discovered that adding gelatin created stable refrigerator cakes that sliced beautifully. Lemon Icebox pie used evaporated milk for the filling, eliminating raw eggs. The milk's concentrated proteins whipped to impressive volume when cold enough. Some recipes combined whipped evaporated milk with whipped cream for extra richness. These desserts required no cooking and minimal ingredients, perfect for hot summers without air conditioning. The finished products kept for days in the refrigerator or freezer. Depression-era cooks developed these recipes when fresh cream was scarce. Modern ice cream makers have largely replaced this technique, though it still produces excellent results. Condensed soup as gravy. Why make gravy from scratch when a can of condensed soup provided instant sauce? Cream of mushroom became company gravy when thinned with pan drippings and a splash of wine. Cream of chicken transformed into poultry gravy with just broth and seasonings. This wasn't laziness, but smart time management. The condensed soups contained properly balanced thickening agents, eliminating lumpy flour and fat roux preparation. A can of French onion soup plus beef drippings created restaurant-quality au jus. Golden mushroom soup became stroganoff sauce with sour cream stirred in. The sodium content actually enhanced meat flavors when used judiciously. Housewives kept several varieties on hand for different meats and occasions. The consistency was foolproof, no more too thin or gluey gravies. Adding herbs, wine, or cream elevated these simple bases into complex sauces. This technique saved precious minutes during holiday meal preparation when every burner was occupied. Imagine that convenience during Thanksgiving dinner preparation. Broiler quick grapefruit sprinkle. Starting the day with broiled grapefruit became a 1950s breakfast staple that combined nutrition with elegance. Halved grapefruit sprinkled with brown sugar and a dot of butter went under the broiler for 3 minutes until bubbling and caramelized. The heat transformed tart fruit into a warm, sweet, tangy treat that felt special enough for company. Some variations included cinnamon, nutmeg, or a splash of sherry for adults. The broiling process softened the fruit and loosened segments for easy eating. Maraschino cherries in the center added color and sweetness. This technique worked year-round, since broiling improved even out-of-season fruit. The preparation took less than 5 minutes total, making it practical for busy mornings. Served in special grapefruit bowls with serrated spoons, it elevated simple fruit to restaurant status. The natural fruit bowl meant no dishes to wash. This healthy breakfast option provided vitamin C and fiber while satisfying sweet cravings. Mayonnaise cake hack. The most unlikely ingredient created the moistest chocolate cakes. Mayonnaise replaced eggs, oil, and butter in one magical addition. During rationing when eggs were scarce, creative bakers discovered that mayonnaise's emulsified oil and eggs produced incredibly tender cakes. 3/4 cup of mayo replaced 3 eggs and half a cup of oil perfectly. The vinegar in mayonnaise activated baking soda for extra lift, while adding subtle tang that enhanced chocolate flavor. These cakes stayed moist for days, actually improving with time. The texture was velvety, never dry or crumbly. Skeptics couldn't detect the secret ingredient, only extraordinary moistness. The recipe mixed up in one bowl with just a spoon, no creaming or beating required. Depression-era cooks passed this trick through families, swearing everyone to secrecy. Commercial bakeries later adopted this technique for shelf-stable products. Even today, this hack produces superior results to many traditional recipes. Let that sink in. Condiment creating better cakes than conventional methods. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane, exploring these 25 brilliant kitchen tricks. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe.